Hey, HopeQuest family, Troy and Melissa here, and you will never believe where we're at. We are in a hotel in Memphis, Tennessee, and we are super excited about being here in Memphis. We've been traveling a lot lately. God's been opening up some cool doors.
Yes.
But we're here in Memphis to hang out with our good friends, Chuck Hannaford at Heart Life Counseling, the great folks at Harvest Church, where we'll be tonight. Bill Garner is the senior associate pastor there, and then Sunday with Hope Church, and just good friends Russ and Denise and others. So we're just excited about being here, excited about sharing some of the things that God's doing at HopeQuest, and just teaching, helping people learn how to have really real and authentic relationships and really connect at a heart level, which is just our heart's desire and passion at HopeQuest. But I wanted to just check in with you, sweetheart, because we had a big weekend last weekend.
We did.
And Friday night we had our Celebrating Freedom event, and this is something we do each year. It's not a fundraising event. It's not a teaching event. It really is an event to get together, come together, all the HopeQuest family, and celebrate the amazing things that God has done in our hearts and in our lives. And it was we had almost 200 folks there from, I think, 9 different states. And it was a really just good evening. And I'm curious as to hear your favorite part of that evening.
So undoubtedly my favorite part was seeing everybody. It's like a homecoming. We saw a bunch of people who have either come through the Trek program or have been involved in Journey Walking Free. We had some our newest HopeQuest people from Freedom Experience there as well. So it was just really cool to hang out with people, catch up with what God's doing in their lives, see them smiling, see them at a place of hopefulness when so many of us come at a real place of desperation.
Yeah. And you know, for me, seeing those folks, I mean, 20 years ago this month, you and I, everything exploded.
Yep.
And I left Africa, and you stayed and had a baby, and I never would have imagined what God would have done and would do. And here we sit almost 20 years later, and seeing those folks, people who have been out of Trek for 3 months and are excited and walking on their newfound truth and their newfound hope, and then folks that had literally been through the program 10, 15 years ago and are still experiencing freedom and walking in the truth and the freedom and the life and the hope that they found through their time at HopeQuest. That just it thrills me and it humbles me to see what all God has done and the lasting fruit that God has created.
Right. Yeah, it truly is just an honor. It's just an honor to have been walking with people along the way.
So, did you ever think? I mean, when you sit there and you see all of those folks, and you think about the lives that have been impacted by HopeQuest, what do you even think about at that point?
I mean, I think God chooses the foolish and the weak to do His work. He always has, because it's about Him, not about us.
Well, and what I think about is that God uses our pain. And the darkest, most difficult and painful times with our lives, if we'll give that to God and trust Him to walk with us through it, He redeems it and He uses it to guide and help and bless us and others.
Absolutely.
You know, my favorite thing about that evening was hands down the worship. And I say it this way: we did something a little bit different this year, and that was, instead of having a worship set and then sharing stories and then kind of ending with a worship set, we kind of just let the worship and the stories flow through the evening together. And that went, far better than I even envisioned it going. But the thing about it was, is we would sit there and worship together and then share stories of really brokenness and sin and failure and betrayal and pain. We also shared stories of hope and victory and freedom and life. And then we'd worship some more. And as we worshiped together, I couldn't help but have this feeling, this is what heaven's going to be like. In heaven, we're going to realize how broken we were. We're going to realize just the gravity of the choices that we made. But yet we're also going to realize that we're forgiven, that we're cleansed, that we are healed, that we are restored. And so there's no pretense. There's no I'm better than you. There's no trying to hide at that point. Our brokenness is there, but our freedom is there as well, because Jesus is so clear and so there. And to bring those kind of folks together, folks that know they're broken, that know without Jesus they're hopeless, that know that apart from the grace of God, I can't make it another day. When people like that come together, which we were Friday night, and we worship Jesus together, we sing songs of worship and focus our attention on Jesus, it's what heaven's going to be like. And it was so powerful. It was so encouraging. And it reminded me that in the midst of anything we're going through, focusing our attention on Jesus and worshiping Jesus is never a bad idea. It's always good, and it's always appropriate to turn to Him, to look at Him, to focus on Him, and most of all, to worship Him. And so that was probably my favorite part, just worshiping together with my fellow strugglers, my fellow uniquely screwed up dudes, and just to be able to glorify Jesus and be in His presence.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
It was a really fun evening.
It was. And, next year, we're going to try to maybe do some different things, and I hope maybe next year you can join us. And one of the things we're going to try to do is maybe set a date a little bit earlier this time around. But, one of the things that we talked about that night that really was exciting was the fact that next year, Hope Quest is 20 years old. Can you believe that? Mm-hmm. 20 years old. It just seems like in many respects, just yesterday, we drove our old silver van from Fresno, California to Woodstock, Georgia. Aaron, 6 weeks after his open heart surgery, Rachel, 3 years old. 20 years Hope Quest has been in existence and has been walking with people and helping them experience freedom, hope, and life. So anyway, one of the things we talked about that I'm not going to tell you about it right now because it's still somewhat of a secret. We still want to roll it out, but just do this. Be looking for the hashtag Hope 2020, okay? Hope 2020, and be thinking about this thought: 2020 vision. What's it mean to have 2020 vision? What's it mean to see things so clearly that you see them like they really are? You see the truth, and Scripture tells us we'll see the truth, we'll know the truth, we'll embrace the truth, and the truth will set us free. What's it like to really have 2020 vision? So be on the lookout for that. We're going to be talking about that sooner rather than later. And one of the things we saw Darren and Tina, and we hadn't seen them in quite some time, old friends, and it was so great to see them. And they, just some news for you, they have been one of the first people to join us in that Hope 2020 vision thing that I'm talking about. So anyway, be on the lookout for that. You'll hear more from me, Steve, about that. But Melissa, what are you most excited about this week here in Memphis?
I'm just excited about meeting new people and what God will do as He continues to write stories in people's lives.
Here's what I'm most excited about. Tonight we are talking to almost 200 people. It's all the small group leaders at Harvest Church. So you might think, wow, that's a lot of people leading support groups at Harvest Church. This isn't a support group thing. This is all of the church's small groups. So this is Melissa, this is the normal people, okay?
Yes.
And here's what I love about that. The church ought to be the safest place on earth. The church ought to be the place where we can come with all of our junk and all of our baggage and all of our stuff. And I'm so excited to be able to help equip and encourage leaders to be able to create an environment in their small groups where people can be honest, authentic, and real. People can really talk about what's really going on. people can really get to the heart of the issue and not just try to do better or hope they can do better or even hide how they're not doing better. But they can come, they can be known, they can be loved, they can experience the grace of God through that community, and because of that authentic connection, they can move forward and really experience freedom, hope, and life in their lives. I'm excited. I love helping people experience authentic spiritual community. So that's what I'm most excited about. So we're going to run because we got to get across the street to the church. But we wanted to just again tell you guys how grateful we are for you, how much we appreciate you. Be on the lookout for some news about Giving Tuesday. Steve's got some exciting things in store for Giving Tuesday. I'm excited about Thanksgiving and going to Texas to see my family and to see my daughter and our daughter. And so anyway, we love you. We're grateful for you. Thank you so much. Please keep praying. Please keep lifting up the Hope Quest team. We've got Reclaiming Families Weekend coming up. And for those of you that have been through Trek, you know what that means. We need your prayers. We're grateful for your prayers. We love you. We appreciate you. Have a great day.